Break the board sports. It's your boy RJ Cash. Click that like, hit subscribe. Not in our regular studio, out of town for a couple of days, but again, always going to bring you guys the content you need. Click that like, hit subscribe. Now, not going to be able to get into the Spurs Hornets game, and just because when this releases, that game's already going to be started. But we're going to go to the other 5 NBA games. Atlanta Hawks at the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Hawks are a 1.5-point favorite. 67% ticket count, 83% of the handle in this one going to the way of the Atlanta Hawks. 33% ticket count, 17% of the handle going to the Indiana Pacers. Now, our total in this, 232.5. 58% of ticket count, 59% of the money going over. 42% of ticket count, 41% of ticket handle going under. If you followed us yesterday, hopefully made you some money. I said Lakers and put Lakers in your parlays. I said Celtics, put them in your money line parlays. They got it across easily. The Knicks, they covered the parlay and all. My best bet I gave you guys yesterday was the New Orleans Pelicans on the money line. They beat the Grizzlies. We did lose the Cavaliers game. They were not able to get past the Suns. I told you be wary of the Clippers Nuggets to take the Clippers plus 6.5, but then Jokic came, the line dropped to 2.5. Didn't matter. If you took the Nuggets, you cashed. And then the Pistons, they got across the finish line with the Warriors. So would have been a great day. Hopefully you followed. Looking at the injury report here for today, and again, it's early in the morning on Saturday, so these things can change. So always double check them. The big one for the Atlanta Hawks is Johnson, Jalen Johnson with this calf. He's questionable today, so you want to make sure he's in the lineup. Obviously, Porzingis out. Other than that, nothing really going on as far as the game goes from an injury standpoint. Atlanta, 4-1, both straight up in ATS in their last 5. They've covered 5 straight against the Pacers. The Pacers just 6-14 over their last 20 games are the Indiana Pacers. Hawks come into this 24-26, 15-12 on the road. Pacers 9-16 at home with a record of 12-36. These two teams just played 5 days ago in Atlanta, a game the Hawks won by 16. But listen, Pacers a little different team at home. Again, Johnson, especially with him being questionable, the line's kind of telling you he may not play here in this one. Again, I don't know if I'll get to the window. I try to be as transparent as possible. Obviously, I can't give out every play because got players, breaktheboardsports.com, promo code NFL50. It gets every play, but I try to give you as much leans as I can. Pacers would be my lean here. If I get to the window, it would be Pacers or nothing. New Orleans Pelicans on the back-to-back headed to the 76ers. Now, the 76ers are laying 10 in this one, getting 55% ticket count, 64% of the handle. 45% ticket count, 36% of the handle going to the way of the Pelicans. That total is at 230.5. 58% of the ticket count, 83% of the handle going under. 42% ticket count, 17% of the handle going to the over. Now, here's the thing on the injury report. Quentin Grimes is listed as probable. So is Paul George and Embiid. So full staff, it shows it in the line, and the Pelicans coming off the back-to-back. I'm not a person that's going to lay double digits in the NBA. Too many variables. I always say this. NBA betting in-game is the best way to go. But 76ers and all your money line parlays today, I'm there. And I would actually lay, just again, check it right before the game. But if I got Maxey, George, and Embiid on home turf against a Pelicans team that's on the road after playing at home last night, give me the Sixers. I'll lay the 10.5. But again, you got to make sure all those guys are in for them. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies on the back-to-back. Minnesota laying 7.5 at Memphis. They're taking 78% of ticket count, 89% of the handle going to the T-Wolves. 22% of ticket count, 11% of the handle is taking the Grizzlies. Now that total sets 229.5, 60% of ticket count, 35% of the handle is going to the over. 40% of ticket count, 65% of the handle going to the under 229.5. When you dig into it a little bit more here in this game, Minnesota 4-1 ATS their last 5 versus the Grizzlies. Grizzlies have lost 5 straight, and they're just 1-4 ATS in those 5. If you go a little further, over their last 7 games, the Grizzlies are just 2-5 ATS. Now, as far as over-under trends, the T-Wolves have played to the under 4 of their last 5 and played to the under 10 of their last 15. versus Western Conference opponents. The over for Minnesota, however, is cashed 6 of the last 8 on the road, and head-to-head between these two teams, 5 of the last 7 have went over the total. As far as your injury front, Jerome and Pippen, both game-time decisions. So just Edey and Moran out. If the Grizzlies can get Pippen and can get Jerome, that may change things here. No play for me on this one. I would look to Minnesota in some type of money line parlay situation as far as that, but I'm not laying 7.5 on the road ever in any sport. Again, there's just rules abide by. But I will say you could do something plus $1.15. Arkansas and college hoops to get the win at home. 76ers T-Wolves, that's plus $1.15 if that wets your whistle there. Chicago Bulls at the Miami Heat. Now, these two teams just played 2 nights ago. The Heat won 116-113 in Chicago. Now they're back to Miami. Miami is a 4.5-point favorite. We gave Miami out that game the other night. 235.5 is the total in this one. When you look at the injury report, trying to get pulled up here while we do that, 4.5, 235.5, 47% ticket count, 44% of the handle. Going to the over 235.5, 53% ticket count, 56% of the handle. Going to the under in this one. Now, the Bulls catching the 4.5, they're actually getting 54% of the ticket count and 75% of the handle. As where the Miami Heat, 46% ticket count, 25% of the handle, going to the way of the Miami Heat. Now, Chicago, when they're on the road in South Beach, they've been covering 5-2 ATS over the last 7 trips to South Beach. Miami, 4-2, both straight up in ATS in their last 6. The Bulls, they've been an under team. 4 of their last 5 have cashed to the under, and 6 of their last 7 on the road have cashed to the under. Miami, again, when they're at home, just 2-5 against the spread their last 7 versus the Bulls. Now, a huge injury report. Jalen Smith for the Bulls, questionable. Emmanuel Miller for the Bulls, questionable. Vacevic, he is not going to play. He's going to be on rest today. Jones is out. Kobe White, this is a big one. He's questionable with the calf. So with the Bulls, having Vacevic out and you just got Giddey, got to be very careful there. Now, Tyler Hero and Norman Powell both out for the Heat here in this one. I don't know if I'll get to the window, but I would definitely 100%. I would not take the Heat here. I would either take the Bulls. If I could get a 5, I may look Chicago Bulls plus 5 in the revenge spot here would be the way I leaned in this one. Dallas at Houston. Houston laying a big number, 10.5. Injury report. Nothing for the Mavs. Obviously, Davis, Lively, Irving, and Exum, they're all out, and Adams and Van Fleet are out. Other than that, nothing on the injury report. So clean bill of health for both of these teams. Houston Rockets laying 10.5. 223.5 is the total. 69% of ticket count and money going over that total. 31% of ticket count and money going under that total. Now, as far as the 10.5 goes, 57% of bets and 80% of the money is going to take the Dallas Mavericks here, catching 10.5 in the in-state rivalry contest. 43% of ticket count, 20% of the handle, taking the Houston Rockets. Now, check this out. Dallas is 5-2 ATS their last 7, but against the Rockets, the Mavericks have beaten the Rockets 13 of the last 19 head-to-head matchups, and the Mavericks are 4-1 ATS their last 5 versus Houston. The Rockets, on the other hand, 6-2 straight up over their last 8, but they're just 4-11 against the spread their last 15 overall. What's worse, 4-11 ATS your last 15 overall, or the Mavericks, who are just 1-10 ATS their last 11 on the road? Again, this one has in-game betting written all over it. I can't lay 10.5 with the Rockets. The Mavericks, I don't want to take 10.5. So just would be a pass for me. Again, I think your best bet in the NBA, Bulls plus 5 or Philadelphia laying 10.5. But today will probably be an in-game betting. Other thing I would say, you got a ton of hockey, you got a ton of college hoops. You just got to be careful here not to get sucked in and make a ton of bets. Remember, you're betting to make a profit, not betting for action. RJ Cash, Break the Board Sports, giving you stats, trends, information to help you with your handicap. Whether you fade or follow, hope you win your bets. God bless and happy handicapping.